I think the Trey Lance story is great. And I don't know that he's going to be good. I don't know what he's going to be. No one knows what he's going to be after 3.5 starts or whatever it is. But I think he's like really easy to root for. I don't see how anyone could root against Trey Lance. He's really easy to identify with. Can't everyone identify with a guy who was written off unfairly too soon? Can't you? I think everyone can. Anyway, what's interesting about the Trey Lance arc is the way I see it, Kyle Shanahan drafted him for the wrong reasons. Kyle Shanahan was upset that Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't play at the end of the 2020 season, that he shut himself down with an ankle injury. He was upset. So he traded up, mortgaged the future of the franchise, spent 3 first-round picks and a third to get a new quarterback. And he didn't want Justin Fields because, I don't know, he thought Justin Fields, wasn't smart enough to learn his system. Coming from a spread system, maybe too much learning that Justin Fields would have to, too much transition. Didn't want Mac Jones. Probably, that guy is kind of weird. Probably doesn't have any of the it factors. Doesn't seem like much of a leader. So they settled on Trey Lance. And why'd they take Trey Lance? Couple of reasons. He did really well in that S2 cognition score test, like 90-something percentile. And he played under center in college. So the way I see it is the Shanahans thought Trey Lance was ready to go because he was super smart. And he played under center, so they probably felt he could pick up their system right away, which is all that matters, right? Picking up the system. Then they bring him in town and they realize, oh, actually he has like mechanical flaws. He is a project, like everyone said. And so they look around and they realize they don't know how to fix his flaws. I mean, Rich Scangarello is not really a quarterback coach. He was the quarterback coach, but he was like a longtime offensive coordinator in college and stuff. He's a X's and O's guy. Kyle isn't a quarterback coach, so they don't have anyone who can overhaul Trey Lance's mechanics, so they outsource it to like John Beck, who can't do it either. And then they just give up. What does Kyle do? He turns him into a running back. Gives up on him. Gets his leg broken, his ankle broken, and then they move on. Jimmy Garoppolo plays well. There were rumors that the Niners were going to give him an extension. Then he gets hurt. Brock plays well. That seals Trey's fate. Then Brock gets hurt, and the Niners don't know what to do. So they go sign Sam Darnold, and they're whispering about how much they like Sam Darnold, and they've given up on Trey Lance. Like they pretty much left him for dead at this point. Like he's essentially in that movie Kill Bill, like he's in the coffin alive, but in the coffin underground. None of his teammates will work out with him all offseason, right? I mean, he is essentially dead to them. What does he do? He takes matters in his own hands, works out with Jeff Christensen and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, mind you, the quarterback that Kyle Shanahan never scouted, didn't want, works out with him. Kind of like a, in your face Kyle Shanahan. Comes back and has totally new throwing mechanics. All of a sudden, he's making the improvements the Niners wanted him to make, but couldn't help him make because they don't have quality passing coaches in their organization. So he comes back after they left him for dead, and all of a sudden he's making progress, and they're pleasantly surprised, but also kind of terrified. I mean, I think of it as like, again, Kill Bill, right? Uma Thurman. In the coffin, alive, has to get out, just doing those little 1-inch punches over and over again. That was Trey this offseason, all by himself, doing those little 1-inch punches, finally breaks through the wood, punches through, grabs air, digs himself out of the grave, and comes back and he sees all his friends that put him in the grave. And they're like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. How are you, Trey? You look great. These throwing mechanics are phenomenal. I always believed in you. It's so good to see you. That's what's happening right now. They had nothing to do with this mechanical awakening that Trey Lance is undergoing. Brian Griese didn't have anything to do with it. Kyle Shanahan didn't have anything to do with it. None of their brain trust had anything to do with it. They wrote him off. They left him for dead. Now he's back. Brock's not healthy. And Sam is Sam Darnold. And Trey's here with all these new mechanics. And the Niners are like, wow, he's great. I think it's a really fun revenge story. I guess is Trey Lance doing this in spite of the 49ers? Does he have a future here? Or is this all for his next team? I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Niners pivot because they're going to try to take credit for Trey Lance if he ends up reworking his mechanics and succeeding. But did they really have anything to do with it? Or did Kyle just draft him for the wrong reasons, panic when he couldn't fix his mechanics, play him make him a running back, get him injured, put him on the scrap heap, and then be pleasantly surprised when he comes back after working with Jeff Christensen, who had nothing to do with the 49ers. I think that's very interesting. So this is Trey Lance's revenge tour.